So we're headed to go see David Avalos from B&C Packing, and I've known David for about a year now, and beyond work we've developed a really good friendship. He's an extremely interesting guy that has a lot of unique hobbies outside of his work of packing fruit all day. He runs a great operation, and I'm really excited for you to meet him. David Avalos, the Renaissance man of fruit.
My name is David Avalos, and I've been here working at B&C Packing for the past 12 years. In overall agriculture, I've been 17, 18 years here in Kingsburg, California. A normal day here at B&C Packing is me coming in, checking fruit out in the totes, checking quality, sizes, and start getting ready with packaging materials, tray packs, making sure people come in. Once it's start time, putting all those things together and just start packing. Making sure everything runs smooth, and we're putting the fruit in the right box, and we're throwing away the right amount of fruit. Pretty much, that's all I do.
How many people are you in charge of total?
We have about 100 employees here at B&C Packing. Right now we're running about 80 hours a week, so we're pretty busy right now.
And what is the primary purpose of this packing shed?
This packing shed's purpose is to bring the fruit from our farmers here, process it, package it, get it in a box, and get it out to the market for consumers. We receive about 500,000 pounds of fruit in this facility a day. We end up packing about 80% of it. That 80% goes to market. The other 20% goes to either landfills or to feed cows. It gets discarded.
Can you describe, based on your experience, why that fruit is being discarded?
Most of it's cosmetic reasons, scarring, misshapen, maybe a little soft spot. And the soft gets thrown out because it sits in cold storage for a few days, a few weeks, and that will never reach to market. And it'll ruin more fruit if it starts to go bad. So it just needs to be tossed out.
So would you say the issue of fruit being thrown out is pretty simple, or it's actually pretty complex?
It's kind of complex, and it has to do with grades, marketing, and price. Sometimes you can sell some ugly fruit, but it's very cheap, and it doesn't make sense to pack it for the packing shed because, you know, there's labor and there's packaging, there's a lot of cost. There's no profit. It gets thrown out. You know, at the end of the day, there needs to be profit in order for us to pack it.
This is basically the first step from when the fruit comes out of the field. How much fruit comes across this belt a day?
About 500,000 pounds comes through here, through these belts. This is our first line of defense here. So we start grading and sorting here. Want to find stuff like this here. Scarring, you know, a couple of scars there.
What causes that scar?
This is a wind scar here. A leaf will rub on that, create a scar.
Does it affect the taste or the
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's just 100% cosmetic. It's just a perfectly piece of good fruit. It just.
So that piece of fruit will get thrown out?
It will get thrown out. Yeah, it will get thrown out.
Can you describe some more defects and details that you're looking for here?
Any scarring, any defects like that, you know. This obviously here, it has a deep suture. Couple little blemishes there. That's enough to get it thrown out.
Who decides what you can and cannot pack? The sales company, essentially?
Sales companies sell a product, and you know, they're selling this product. It's a perfectly, no blemish, perfectly piece of fruit. They're not selling this product. So we can't sell this. We could sell this. This gets thrown out. I would say about 20% of the fruit gets thrown out, and not just in this facility, all the facilities around here. The 20-mile radius, there's probably 50 packing sheds around here, and they all do the same. They all throw around anywhere from 10 to 20% of their fruit. That equates to hundreds of thousands of pounds every day, you know, every day. That's a lot. It's a lot of fruit.
The estimates I've done, I've determined 40 to 80 truckloads a day of fruit gets thrown out around here. Mm-hmm. So that's 2 to 4 million pounds a day.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. You know, and depending on the time of the year and the quality of the fruit, it could get that high. There's no doubt it could get that high. Especially if we get behind on picking because of labor, the weather, excessive heat that week, it'll just go up. We can't get to it, and you'll have more soft in there. And you'll see the trucks start pulling out here a lot faster.
People often ask when they kind of see the reality of this much fruit getting thrown out, they'll often ask, well, who's to blame? Everybody wants to know who's to blame. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think there's anybody to blame. I think there needs to be more education on the consumer end. They know that they know it's the same piece of fruit they're getting. It just might be a little bit not as pretty, a little bit ugly, a blemish here. It's the same piece of fruit. There's nothing wrong with it. I think more education, and not just on that end, on the end of all the resources that are consumed to produce this fruit. We ought to do our part to consume even an ugly piece of fruit, you know. I think that would benefit everyone. The farmer could sell this and not throw it out. The consumer would eat it. We wouldn't have to consume so many resources to produce all this fruit. That's just my opinion. I wouldn't blame anybody. I think more education would help. I think we're all trying to juggle the same game, you know. We're trying to push as much fruit as we can in the box without getting rejected. Because, I hate throwing this out. I hate it. I see this every day, and I'm like, we should be able to pack this. I try to throw as much as I can into the box, but, you'll get your hand slapped by sales or we get rejections. I just think more education, and people need to know what gets thrown out and why. And I think we could change this. In my opinion, it could change, but I think it takes time. Basically, this is where our process starts. They start discarding fruit out. It has any blemishes, soft. This is where they start throwing it out. So this is our first coal. This is our first grading here. From here, it goes on to the building. So once the fruit comes inside the building, it's already been washed. Comes in here, starts getting singulated, gets in these chains, travels down the line. Here in this system, it starts getting weighed. Every single piece of fruit gets weighed. There's scales under here, determines the size of the fruit. Then it goes into this box. This box here has cameras. They'll start grading the fruit. It'll pull a number 1, a number 2, a number 3, and a coal. This box here sees scarring, it sees soft, split pits. It's supposed to detect any defects on the fruit. So basically when this fruit gets through this camera box, it already has a destination, a grade, and an exit point. And it just comes down the line. All the fruit that's getting knocked down right here, all that goes into the ugly bin. All that fruit right there. This machine labels it. It puts a label on every piece of fruit that should have a label. Keeps going down the line. All that fruit already has a destination, so they start getting on their designated exits. Fruit gets down here, ends up on these tray lanes where these women pack it. So all this fruit here is number 1. The bad fruit ends up on this belt, all the discarded fruit. Everything that goes down here is good fruit. All the fruit that the machine thinks it's bad gets tossed in this lane here. This will go straight out to that cold truck. These here are rapid pack tables. Women pack by hand here, both sides. So everything that's good goes in the box. Everything that's bad, there's a belt on there, gets thrown out, and it goes out to the cold truck. So here we have about 25 tons of fruit that's going to be thrown out. Either it's going to feed cows or it's going to go to a landfill. And that's just from this morning. I've only been packing for about 2 hours right now. That's how much we produced this morning. 90% of that fruit's edible. There is some there that's not edible, There's some defects that are not, you don't want to eat them. You won't die, but you don't want to eat them. But about 90% of that fruit can get converted to dry fruit, juice, purees, a bunch of stuff. Yeah, a lot of fruit. When Ben comes to me and wants fruit, if I have it, I'll tell me I could get it to you. Basically, it's the same thing. We wash it, we we clean it, and the only thing is that grade we separate and it goes in a bin. It goes in a clean bin, he picks it up and it gets processed. It's perfectly good fruit, it's just that it's a bit ugly, that's it. There's no difference between that fruit and the one that ends up in the store. It's the same piece of fruit. It's just fruit that's ugly and it gets discarded. And the fruit doesn't even ever see the cold bale or doesn't get discarded out and get picked up. It goes directly into a bin that goes to the ugly company. So it's just the layers that we do is just adding one layer to it where you just divert that fruit in a bin. That's it. Picks it up and he hauls it off and, you know, he does his thing with it, but there's no difference.
Can you tell me a very honest assessment when we first met and I told you about the ugly company, what we were doing, what your thoughts were, and if you thought it was going to work?
At first, I didn't know what you were doing. I know you came in, wanted some fruit, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be more work. Had a brief conversation with you and you told me what you were doing, and I was excited. I think you saw that I was excited about it, and I was like, oh, I could do this. Like it's not work for me, you know. And honestly, what you do, something I've thought about, like I just previously said, and I think that's a great thing you're doing, and I'm all for it, you know. And I think more people should be for it. More packing sheds should be doing more to do something like that, you know, just because of all the resources that go into fruit, just to be tossed out, you know. All right, ugly company, I gotta get back to work. I love what you guys do. Hopefully I can help. Hopefully we can give you guys more fruit, but I get back to work. Thanks, guys.